Okay, YouTubers, normal service resumed, back on Mars. Today we're going to be looking at an image from Sol 554. I've been going over a lot of some of the older Sols recently because I do feel that a lot of the stuff we're getting now has been censored, and we're getting a lot more just thumbnail images now in the recent Sols. And you often only get 10 or 20 large images like this one, or larger images I should say, and loads of little tiny thumbnails which are no good to man or beast. So our little games of interplanetary I Spy are getting somewhat difficult, I'm afraid. But there's still plenty of stuff in the archives to go through, and I often go back through some of these older sets because they're still full of little gems actually, and well worth a look still. And there's probably thousands of images that haven't even been looked at by anyone. So well worth going through. So this is, I'll have a link to this below. This is a weird one. Now, I've been struggling a bit with this because I don't know what to call it, and I've been searching for about a week now to try and find something similar to it on Earth, and I can't do it. There are things that are a little bit similar, but not quite the same. It's an alien object, so these things may not always have an equivalent down here, not an exact equivalent anyway. So let's crack straight on with it, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's go straight to the folder. I've already done some clips and enhancements of this, so I'll keep this fairly short if I can. Now the main object, in fact there's two objects here, are right next to each other, and here's the clip. I'll take the clip straight out. There we go. Now, the first thing I noticed was this rather odd-shaped pillar thing here. Now, this to me, this is completely raw. I haven't done anything to this. This is as it comes. Very badly damaged image, like a lot of these are. You can actually see the damage going up through the image here and across all over. But luckily, this is fairly close to the actual rover. It's less than 15 feet from the camera, I think, assuming that we're not zoomed in from miles away. So what is it? Now, not only is there that thing here, this thing here, it's got a perfect little roof on it, an actual roof shaped part to it here, and this rather strange dome sticking out, and some straight little kind of bricks or something kind of embedded into it. I mean, this could have been underwater. It looks like it's been eroded. It's fairly smooth around the outside. It's sort of rounded off. It's not a ventifact, because ventifacts do not have roofs on them. I mean, the roof structure, even in the raw image, is perfectly straight here. You can see the angle there is absolutely spot on. But there is a lot of missing data in this image, and I'll show you that in a minute, what's been done to it, and what's done to many of these, or most of these images, I should say. There's also this thing in front of it. Now, what's that? Now, to me, that looks like a handle here, and the back part to it here has got a strange nodule here. Don't know what the hell that is, and a weird sort of cover part to it that almost looks like a bone, but I don't think it is a bone. It's quite reflective, actually. This is metallic. I think this part to it here, in fact, the whole thing maybe, is actually, once you enhance the image, it's quite reflective. And to me, it looks kind of almost like a hairdryer in shape. I'm not saying it is a hairdryer, of course, but it's shaped like a hammer or some kind of tool or a hairdryer or some kind of old electric screwdriver, or perhaps even it could be a very old school ray gun or kind of space weapon of some sort. Absolutely no idea. I'll show you some comparisons in a minute, shape comparisons at least, and answers on a postcard really with these guys. I really don't know what to call them. I'm sure I'll come up with some sort of name for the video, but let me show you some enhancements, and then I'll show you how badly damaged that image is. I'll show you the last enhancement I've got, which is this one. I've taken a bit of time on this, and I haven't gone crazy with it. I've just Gaussian blurred it to get rid of all the crappy blocks and pixelation, and I've colour corrected it quite, and really upped the brightness and contrast here, and took a little bit of time with it, and I've gone through here to enhance these shadows, and shapes just to show what's actually in the image. And most of this is actually in the image, because the Gaussian blur does get rid of a lot of the horrible broken up pixelation that you get in these images, which I'm sure is deliberate, as I've said many times before. And you can see here now that this thing down here, the gun-shaped object or drill or whatever it is, hand drill, it does look like a tool, and it seems to have a sort of handle here, and this part is very reflective and looks like a metal cover of some sort. Now this may be part of something else, it may not be an object in itself, it's probably broken. It may have had another part coming out here. Absolutely no idea, it's pure speculation of course. But this thing at the top here, which I'm going to call some kind of pillar I suppose, it sort of reminded me of some things I have seen on Earth in sort of Peru and places like Mexico and places like that. But it's got it's almost nautical looking, like a bollard. But why would it have a roof on the top? I mean, I would really love to see what's around the other side of this thing. This may even have an entrance to it. I mean, the estimated size, this is only about a foot tall. It may seem large because I've zoomed into it here, but it's not. Let's go back to the raw image and have a look. Let's have a look at the raw image, and that will give you an idea of scale. There's the raw image. There it is. Now, bear in mind the bottom of the image is usually around about 8 feet from the rover, assuming it's not zoomed in with the camera, the telephoto lens. So that's about, I'd say it's about 5 or 6 feet away from there. So yeah, you're talking about 13 feet away. So yeah, I would imagine this is 1.5 feet tall, possibly 2 at the most. So it's not huge, because if it looks that short when it's this close to the rover, then it's probably not much more than a 1.5 foot in height. Okay, so that's how I work out the scale of these things. And there's a few other weird things in this image as well, but the image is so poor in quality and so badly damaged, very hard to tell what you're even looking at half the time. And a good example is this thing here, which I thought looked interesting, but I think it's actually 2 objects. It had a strange point to it and looked like part of a statue or something. But when you zoom in, look how terrible this image is. And you've got all these JPEG artifacts in here. But there are some interesting green colours coming off this. So I'm leaning towards this possibly being a bit of moss growing on the back of this thing, just here. This is the enhanced version. I haven't done much to it. But you can tell that the image is terrible, and you've got all these structures in here, which may mostly be there, but some of it is pixelation and damage. So I'm not even going to say what I think that is, because it's too damaged to even work out. You can't even verify whether it's a rock. I mean, what they're doing to these images is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, that image, this whole image has been degraded by something like 70%. Right, so basically, what is this object? Now, I've got some comparisons up here, and I'm going to try and give you an idea of what I think it could be. Now, there are lots of pillar-shaped objects down here on Earth, and the thing is, I've been going through all these things, and I can't find an actual match for this. But the shape of it reminds me of a dockside bollard, and we have probably tens of thousands of different types of these things. Sometimes you get them on roads, sometimes you get them on docksides, all over the place. Wherever there's boats or cars or traffic, you get these things. And they come in all shapes and sizes, and are usually made of steel or of iron. And there are also many old-fashioned and very ancient types that were made of stone and put by docksides and moorings and stuff like that. And they're usually sort of mushroom-shaped, but there are some that are similar in shape to that thing that I showed you, with a sort of part sticking out, which you throw a rope over. This is why they're often mushroom-shaped. But the thing we've got on Mars isn't quite like that, and it doesn't really match any of these. And I could look for a week. I've been looking for over a week through a lot of these images, and I cannot find anything quite like it. So It's similar to a bollard, but it may not be a bollard. I can't find any quite like it. So then I started looking at pillars, stone pillars. And there are also tens of thousands of different types of these in the world. Who knows? I mean, there's a very old looking one here. It's a bit like that. You know, it's not straight. It's got a strange lump sticking out of it. Now, the strange lump sticking out of it, I sort of thought may actually be a mount or part of what could have been maybe something mounted onto it. Now, this could have been in a gateway. It could have been on the dock side. I don't know. It could have been a tether for tying your horse to, but more likely, I think it was something you'd throw a rope over it, and this big lump would stop the rope from coming off over the top. It would kind of hold it into place, if you get what I mean. A bit like a bollard. But it also could have had a statue head kind of mounted on the front. And like some you might see in ancient times, like from Mexico or Peru, you get these stone walls with statue heads kind of mounted onto them. It may well be part of a structure like that. I don't know. I've never seen anything quite like it. It could be. It reminded me of some of the odd-shaped pillars that you get in places like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Now, this is a very, very ancient site indeed, and is absolutely fascinating. I do recommend you look it up. There are some oddly shaped pillars and stone objects here, and some of them are sort of similar in shape. So I don't know. I cannot find a match for it. I will put some more comparative images in at the end. There's also this rock here, which I thought was very interesting. This is the enhanced version of it here. I won't go too close because that'll pixelate. It seems to have let's go back a bit. There's a fossil here with a round part to it here, and sort of limbs coming off it here, and going over and around this potential rock. But then I got very confused about this, because it almost looks like this part of the image has been faked here, because you've got this very strangely shaped thing here, which I cannot work out what it is. It's probably just a rock with an odd part sticking out. But I've tried to enhance it, but this is almost like an optical illusion, because if you look at the top of this, it kind of goes into this thing behind, but the way it's been cut, or what the shape of the rock, makes it look like it's not actually there, if you see what I mean. This little mound behind it looks like it's been altered and obfuscated in some way, or there may be some fake sand going on here, because this doesn't look right. I know that shadows can play real tricks on your mind and everything, but there's loads of weird details in here, almost mechanical looking. I think this is some kind of fossil here. It may be some kind of crinoid or some kind of primitive sea creature, or something that lived in the bottom of the lake in Gale Crater. Very strange indeed. It almost looks like it's got a head here and arms and limbs coming off, like an octopus or something. You know, something like that, perhaps. Let's have another look at that. I really don't know what that is. It's a pillar with a roof with a large lump, kind of nodule sticking out, and it's got some little brick-like structures to it here. And it's actually a rather nice shape. I really like it. Could it be a house? Doubt it. But you never know. And this thing in front looks kind of like a hairdryer with a handle and a back part to it here, but who knows what that is. It looks mechanical, and it looks like it's broken off something, and it may have been part of a much larger structure, and may be nothing to do with this pillar object at all. As we often find with these finds on Mars, things are scattered all over the place, and there was probably a tsunami and everything got washed together, and there's just debris lying all over the place and all mixed up, and you'll often find skulls and carved artifacts and bones and all sorts of rubbish and junk all kind of mixed up together. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon.